Well, welcome back. We are on our third lesson in our chemical equations or a chemical reactions unit. This one is balancing chemical equations. It is lesson 3, part 1. So, what is a balanced equation? Well, a chemical equation basically must observe the laws of conservation, which really means that the atoms that appear on one side, so the reactant side, must reappear on the other side, which is our product side. Nothing can be lost. So if we look at our example, we have NaOH plus HCl, and that turns into NaCl plus H2O. So if we take a look at the components that make up this reaction, on the reactant side, which is usually your left side, we have NaOH, which is sodium hydroxide, made up of Na, O, H, and there are two of them, and Cl. And on the product side, we have Na, we have O, and even though O comes at the end here, we're going to line it up across from our other O. It just makes it easier to visualize and to see whether or not we need to do something to balance it. Again, we're going to line up our H on the product side, and this time the H's are together, so there are two H's as well. And we have Cl. So, the first step in balancing the equation is to break the reactants and the products down into the types of elements. So, if we look again at NaOH plus HCl, it turns into NaCl plus H2O. So we're going to just recap what we just did. So we have Na, we have O, we have H, and we have Cl. So those are the different elements that make up the equation on the left side, or the reactant side. On the other side, we have one Na, we have an O, we have H, and we have Cl. So that is the first step, is just to break it down. And even when you have elements like H, for example, that are in two different places, for now we're going to go ahead and try to just list them together. Eventually, depending on the equation, you may have to separate them, but we'll do a little bit more practice with that when we work together in class. So, the second step then is to place the quantity of each element in the reactants and then do it again on the product side. So, looking at our reactant side, which is NaOH plus HCl, which turns into NaCl plus H2O, and this is an actual chemical equation. It is sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid, and that turns into NaCl plus H2O, which is salt and water. So, we have one Na on the reactant side, one oxygen. We have two hydrogens, and we have one chlorine. On the product side, we have one sodium, which is Na. We have one oxygen. We have two hydrogens, but this time they're together on the other side. And we have one chlorine. So, when we look at it then, we need to basically realize that in this example, both sides are equal. The equation is balanced and conservation of mass is evident. And the reason for that is because if we recap what we just did, we can see that on each side, the number of atoms of each element are the same. So we have one Na on both sides, one O on both sides, two hydrogens on both sides, and one Cl on both sides. So in this case, this chemical equation is balanced. And that'll do it for this lesson today. We'll see you tomorrow. Actually, we'll see you in a few minutes because we're going to go ahead and do lesson 2 in just a minute.